Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Day-to-Day podcast.
Hey, hey.
And so we have a few topics today that we want to just shed some light on, and then if we
Yeah.
have some time later, we can get into some other small topics as well.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
not many topics this week, right?
yeah,
Just
yeah, it has been
been a
a
slow week.
slow, it has been a slow week for like especially like tech areas that we usually
Hmm.
deal with.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, so the first thing that we want to talk about is the Meta Quest 3, right?
Yep. So uh, for those who don't know, the MetaQuest, MetaQuest family of products is sort of Facebook's line of products that are dealing with VR, AR, and all of that stuff. And MetaQuest 2 has been out now, I think from 2020. It's been about 3 years now. It's been decent. I've played with one a bit, and it's quite
Mm,
nice. It's good for like mainly focus on VR stuff. But when it comes to like more AR related thing, it was really non-existent. They are part of it. But now with the MetaQuest 3, what's happening is there's a lot more emphasis on AR, right? Because if you used VR headsets, there's a function called like pass through. Well, is it pass through? Yeah, I think it is called pass through, something
mm,
pass through. So it's essentially what it does is it lets you see while you're wearing the headset what's outside, right? And for that you need like proper good cameras to capture it and sort of pass it through and overlay stuff in front of it and do things like that. And in the sort of main improvement that has come with the Quest 3 is that. So it's much better now. You have much better quality. And it's in color. So in MetaQuest 2, it was in black and white, and MetaQuest 3, it's color, and it's definitely more high resolution. But I mean, it's still not as clear as just viewing it as is. But there are some choppy bits. But yeah, that's mainly it. And weirdly, people have been using it for like uh, as a daily device. I've seen like videos of
mm,
people just wearing it, watching a video while they're washing dishes. I think that was Austin Evans who did that. Um, and I've just seen this guy who goes into a coffee shop. I don't know whether that's real. I just saw it on TikTok. I just really famous and sensitive. But if it is, that's pretty awesome. Um, he walks in, he has it on, and he just orders coffee, and he has a like a sort of video running on the side of the not screen, but side, so that he can
mm,
see this face of the person and all of that, right? And that's pretty cool. It's
mm.
quite interesting, right? So I think I feel like Meta might have beat Apple to the punch. I think
Yeah,
at least a little bit. What do you think, Ilya?
yeah, I think that's right. Like, I mean, I believe they put out a product which is considerably cheaper and
Yeah,
close to almost everything
considerably.
close to almost everything that Apple put out, like
It's
with
like
their Vision Pro.
it's like almost I mean almost
That's a
10 times cheaper, ten times less expensive than whatever. Apple's one is around 300
yeah,
$3,500
yeah.
something, right?
And this
But
is
I'm not sure. It's like, was it 400? Yeah, no, it's 500. So I mean,
but
it's still,
still,
dude, it's like not not a
yeah,
like for
that
five
is
hundred
like
dollars getting
yeah.
something of that
It's
quality
like
is like,
the Apple Vision Pro is like 7 times more expensive than
yeah,
the yeah
yeah.
in that sense. Yeah.
And the weird part is like, so all of this is contained within the headset itself. So your battery, sound, and all of that. And if you remember correctly, uh, the Apple Vision
Vision
Pro
Pro.
had its battery externally, and you had to like sort of connect
Yeah,
the cable to it, and
yeah, yeah.
not the best design.
And then how much like how to say battery time like or usage time does it
Ah,
have? Can you remember?
I can't remember that one though. Maybe this one has around. I know it's improved from
Okay, 2 hours.
Quest 2.
It says okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it says like the review says they got around 2 hours of battery on a single
Okay,
charge.
okay,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
that's a good amount like for VR. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a
that's like
small
pretty good.
device.
A small device. I mean, uh, so you wouldn't. I mean, it's a. Although I mentioned that people use it like try to use it on a daily basis, with doing all this weird
Mm.
stuff. It's not really meant for that. It's sort of meant for, one-off entertainment. You can do, you know, different games and stuff like that.
Mm.
Um, and but I think Apple's device I think they're trying to make it more of a replacement of a phone. So
Mm.
that might make sense why
With the
they're having
OS and all that stuff, right?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
the idea.
That's why they're having to sort of power it with an external battery. I'm guessing that's why. But I mean,
Okay.
let's see when it comes out, right? It's supposed to, I think, be available early next year, if
Mm.
I'm not mistaken, right?
Mm.
That was a timeline. Because some of
But
the OS features are coming. So, there was a feature announced for the iPhone where you can capture like
yes.
vision video or something like that.
Mm.
And that is supposed to come out in December, and I think right after that, they're gonna release a headset.
Mm.
So let's see how that goes.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
there's
I
gotta.
think when it comes to, like you mentioned, that games and entertainment as one of the biggest users, but
Mhm.
something that I've heard and seen is that a lot of industries start using
Mhm.
AR VR headsets,
Yeah,
AR
yeah,
especially when it comes to production environments, when it
yeah.
comes to designing the products and everything.
Hmm.
So it's been a more, I gotta say, it's on a upward curve, and I think that's also another market that they need to look into. Maybe Apple is not looking into that side. I feel that they look at it as a purely an entertainment product,
Yeah,
their
yeah,
vision through.
yeah.
But
So
the others,
it
yeah,
might evolve into that, right? It could. I don't know. It may because uh, if you look at it, right, so the iPads
mm,
were initially released as a consumer product, right? But you see a lot of iPads in restaurants as
yeah,
menus and things like that. Maybe not as much now because you can just use a QR code to get the menu, but
mm,
that was a certain time that was sort of prevalent, right? And
yeah,
I- generally, if you want a good tab in an industrial setting, it's generally an iPad that people use,
mm.
even because iPads, I think the newer ones have uh like I think for pilots they have like a radar sort of not radar, I'm not sure
Oh,
what it's called,
really?
like a flight control app. I've seen it
Mm,
in one of their presentations that they have like an app dedicated for that, and people do actually use iPads for that, right?
okay.
So there are some industrial applications for it. Um, and Apple does recognize those people as well. But let's see. I mean, this is going to be a new product, and it'll have to go through a few cycles, a few
Mm, mm,
generations
mm.
rather, before it
Yeah.
sort of settles into the norm, because they're going to have to get some of the initial teething problems fixed when it
Mm,
comes to a new product, right?
yeah.
So I mean, you see that the Apple Watch, right? So now Apple Watch, like people didn't buy it at the first gen,
Yeah.
second gen. It was just the
Mm,
people who really liked Apple geeks who bought it.
mm,
But
mm,
now even the Apple Watch Ultra, right? You can use it as essentially a dive watch, right?
mm.
That's like a proper thing that people do.
Yeah.
And yeah, let's see how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe there
Mm,
could
mm,
be some applications in the future, but not probably immediately. But yeah,
mm,
it's
mm,
nice.
mm, mm.
And also on this, there was this game, right, on Quest 3. I want to
I
mention that.
didn't say.
Um, I don't. So the other thing is I wanted to mention, right? The controllers in the Quest 2 were
Mm?
used to sort of track, and it was like a huge bulky controller, like you had this
Yeah.
whole ring around your hand and all of that stuff.
Mm,
It was much bulkier, right? And that was because it had to be bulky because the cameras in the headset would track that, and
mm,
that's how you sort of figured out what the precision. I mean, not just that, right? There were a few accelerometers and stuff like that as well, but that was one way of tracking it, right? But now, the Quest 3
mm,
has much better tracking, and
mm.
it can even track your hands, right? Right, so you
Okay.
can if you can just sort of grab screens
Mm,
on your vision in your on your view and in
mm.
your view on your view, I don't know, in your view,
Anyway.
and just move it around and do all of that.
Mm.
And there's this game where you can like sort of e- one guy overlays a keyboard over a real piano, and
Ah, yeah. I
you
think
get
I
the
saw
key.
it.
You've seen those like key things like coming in, right? And you
Yeah.
can really
Yeah.
play it out, and that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it reminded me when you said the industrial applications of this.
yeah. Yeah. Like when it comes to music, I think like you have to be quite good with the key, like those keys to actually play
Yeah,
that as a game. But yeah, I
yeah,
mean, but
yeah.
yeah,
No, but I mean, yeah. I mean, even if you put it on a slower setting, you can just
yeah, yeah.
probably
It's
you
good
can
for
do it.
like a lot of training scenarios. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
and I mean,
exactly.
when you're bouncing off from that, the number of applications are like almost unlimited, like when it comes to
Exactly.
training and like
Exactly.
any other instruments, like if I think even guitars and stuff you can
Yeah,
very
guitar might
easily.
be a bit more complex
No,
because
as in a learning tool, like they can show
yeah,
you the chords to hold, and then yeah,
how
on
oh yeah, exactly. When you look at the guitar, you can just say, okay,
yeah,
just hold
the
these two strings and use this
yeah,
fingering and all of
yeah,
that. Yeah, yes,
yeah,
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 do that.
and
We
it's
should develop
it's
and apply
yeah.
that.
It's possible. I mean, anything to be honest. Like drums, pretty easy to do. Like the
Mm,
drum set, you can
mm,
just track the track
mm,
the items, and then you can
mm.
just point out where to hit.
Oh yeah, dude, yes. But I mean,
Yes.
it there is a bit of knowledge behind it that you need to use because
Yeah.
generally even drum training is a bit harder. Pianos are much straightforward, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's just a matter of you need to. I'm not saying playing piano is easy, right? So it's not. I played piano. It's
No.
not
No. No.
easy, but sort of presenting it in a sort of consumable way, it's much easier,
Yeah.
right? Because it's just a
Yeah.
matter of playing which keys for how long, and
Mm.
it's sort of laid out in a nice
Yeah.
AI friendly fashion where things
Mm.
don't change much. It's
Yeah.
just like sort of constant play.
Yeah. Yeah, because I
Um,
was thinking like when it comes to things like drums, there's a lot more body coordination that you need to get used to.
exactly,
Like I've
exactly.
tried playing, and it's much like I mean, unless you've been doing it for a long time, like it's very difficult to coordinate your like arms and legs at the
Mm,
same time with the
mm,
different tools to kind of match the different beats. Yeah, but
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
it's not that easy. Yeah.
So
Uh,
yeah,
mm,
interesting times ahead. But let's see. I mean,
yeah.
generally all the reviews have been positive for this.
Mm,
No negative reviews. I mean, the only maybe slightly negative things would be maybe the battery life could have improved a bit more. And wait, I'm just looking for that list where it is. Okay.
and they still have
And it doesn't have like so although the pass through is so good, right? It's not that good in the sense it's a bit blurred, right? It's not like really crisp or anything, but if you wanted to find your cup, coffee cup, and
mm,
just have a drink, you could just turn it on and you can see okay clearly enough in color for that matter
okay.
to pick it up, and it's not too bad. I mean, it's generally good.
Mm,
It's
mm,
can be a bit clearer, but it's not that bad. And there's not enough mixed reality content as of yet that might improve
mm,
in the future.
yeah.
With more apps coming in. But it's still mainly the VR apps with slight improvements that are there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, I think mixed reality would become very mainstream, like
Mm,
in the next 5 years. I would say with this
yeah.
coming in,
Yeah.
it would be interesting to see. Like it's, I mean, it wouldn't be so nice to see people walking with those bulky headsets, but it might become a
So
norm. Yeah.
there's this interesting thing, right? Uh, for example, they parallelly released the Ray-Ban Meta
Mm.
or something.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't
I
remember
think I
what it's
saw. Yeah.
called, right?
Yeah. Mm.
And that's starting from. So I'm stealing this from MKBHD, full disclosure, right? So they released this one, MetaQuest 3, and they have the Ray-Bans, right?
Mm.
Uh, and those are two aspects of VR AR, right?
Mm.
So one is there it's like very sort of slim, non-noticeable essentially. It's just a pair of shades with a camera and a bit
Yeah.
of interactions and things like that. Not very powerful, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's sort of
Mm.
nice to have, I would say, right? And this is the whole huge bulky headset with all the processing and all of that, right?
Mm.
So um, so the I feel like these two won't be two things in the future.
Mm.
It'll
Mm.
be it'll get uh, combined, not
Yeah.
combined, so they will converge together and
Yeah.
be sort of one product, right? And I think that's what Meta is trying to do. So they got to both
Yeah.
ends of the market without just
Mm. Mm.
going at one end. I think that's
Yeah.
why they've been dumping a lot of money
Mm.
in
Mm.
AR,
Mm.
VR, and all of that, right? Because they want to own this space, right?
Yeah.
They clearly want to own this space, and they know that Facebook is sort of there's a lot of controversies and all of that stuff,
Yeah.
and it's on its way out. Maybe
Mm.
it won't die out, but it'll not
But
be
as
profitable
profitable, yeah.
as profitable, right?
Yeah.
Um, so they're betting on this big, and that's why they have both lineups, and they'll probably converge to one point where it'll just be, the technology that you see in the current Quest 3 in like a pair of shades or, a pair of
Mm.
glasses
Mm.
like these, right?
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is gonna be cool. But
Yeah, I when you told this, I just remembered like Google Glass when
yeah,
it was
Google
mentioned.
Glass.
I was in a Google I/O event back in 2013,
Yeah, yeah,
2013, I think.
2013,
Yeah,
right? It was
2013, yeah.
2013 when it came out.
2013, like which we had back in Sri Lanka. Like I was there, and then I remember them announcing Google Glass there, like in 2013,
Hmm,
in that
10 years
event.
ago.
10 years ago. Yes.
And it is, I mean, it didn't really make sense at the time because
Mm.
uh,
Didn't have the
people,
technology to do it. Yeah.
no, I think more than that, even if we did have the technology, right? People weren't really, I mean, they were using smartphones a lot more, but I wouldn't say it hadn't had reached the level of mainstream it's reached now
Mm. Mm.
after 10 years, right? Because it was just what, 5 years, 6 years maybe after the
Mm.
proper smartphone came out, right?
Mm.
And it takes time for people to get used to it and, for all of that stuff to happen, right? And see what's possible.
Yeah.
And people just weren't ready for a Google. I mean, it was clumsy as well. It looked weird, all of that. That's given. That's
Mm.
that's there, but it was not just that, I feel. It was more of a what do you say, a user issue as well. Users weren't really ready for it as well. They're like, okay, Google Glass,
Mm.
okay. Yeah, man, we've got a smartphone. We can do all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And it didn't really make sense. Now that smartphones are getting a bit more boring and, there isn't
Yeah.
really much things that you can do with it. They're like, okay, wow, okay, let's maybe take a look at this one.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
I mean, that might happen, right? That might happen because, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like it probably wasn't like because I think like even if a product like that came out, it will only be these tech geeks kind of testing
Exactly.
it out. It's not as
The thing is, the
constant.
tech
Yeah.
geeks also didn't like it that much, right? There were like
Mm.
very minute number of tech geeks that actually liked it.
Mm.
And, other tech geeks were making fun of them, but I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
could have.
But now it is in the state, but I'm not sure if Google will come back into it.
No,
Google is
no.
like again, like I was watching an MKBHD video about like Google and their promises kind of because
Oh, the broken promises. Yeah, I saw that one.
yeah,
Yeah.
because Google mentioned that they're gonna give 8 years of software support
Yeah.
to the new Pixel.
Was it 7, 8 or so? Yeah, something. Yeah,
Seven or
something
eight,
around
I
that.
can't remember. Yeah.
Something around that, right? Yeah.
So like what he was saying is like you can trust that it's a good product, but you can't trust them that they'll give you software updates
Yeah. Yeah.
for 7 years because like at one point if they kind of pull
They
the
just
plug out,
cancel stuff, right? Because
yeah,
I mean that is interesting. So the point behind that was Google is such a massive company, right?
yeah,
You that's the whole idea, right? So people think,
mm,
okay, it's a big company, you can trust them, they're gonna have the products.
yeah,
But when you're massive, right? So not big,
yeah,
I'm talking massive. A product is like a drop in the bucket for them,
yeah,
right? And they have no remorse just canceling it. They have, I mean, they okay, forget about it. It's too much. It's
yeah,
annoying. Just get rid of it. And that's about it. It might affect like 20 million or something
mm,
customers, and they wouldn't care, right? Because
yeah,
their customer base is like in the billions.
yeah.
So you
And
need to be
then
careful with that as well.
yeah, and then the loss of revenue is also insignificant compared to
Mm,
what they earn like generally on their
exactly.
bigger, more stable products.
Exactly. And they're thinking in a way, okay, opportunity cost, right? So I'm not gonna pursue this, but there might be an
Mm,
opportunity that I can use the same people for something much better that can get me better revenue and things like that,
yeah.
right? So that's how they think. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they kind of because the examples that like MKBHD do, and I know also like we recently see they sub Google Podcasts apparently. Like I mean, I'm still using it. I don't know when it will
the
go sub, but yeah, the Google
it's they
Podcast.
they stopped Google domains. They've
Yeah,
stopped
Google.
most of the chats. So it's just
Yeah,
Hangouts now. I think they had like
yeah,
Duo and all of that stuff, right? And
yeah,
it's
yeah,
now just Google Hangouts. I don't know
yeah,
whether they'll take that away as well, but yeah.
yeah. Then yeah, they're integrating most of their media products into Google. Sorry, YouTube Music,
Ah,
and
right,
then
right.
that's what they can do. And of
Hmm.
course, the Google Stadia, like that
Yeah.
was something
Yes.
that
Did you get
was
your money
actually
back?
I,
You
I
signed up, right?
yeah, I got my money back. Yeah,
Okay, that's good.
like I didn't buy that many games because they had a lot of sort of free offers and stuff like with the
Ah.
games.
Mm-hmm.
So I mostly got like that, and then also some AAA games like they had like on very like this big discount. So I got, but still I got my money back in everything that I purchased. Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
okay.
Good either way.
Yeah.
So
and
the
their
exact
controller.
you see like they returned all the money for the customers and they're still
Mm.
fine with it. Right?
Yeah,
You can imagine how big.
yeah. It probably returned back a lot. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, the amount of users. I mean, and then of course the how to say Google Stadia controller, they converted it to like a normal Bluetooth controller. Like they gave a software update to convert it,
Oh.
and yeah,
But it's good, right? I mean, they did all that, right?
yeah,
I mean, probably they probably thought, okay, we can get away with this with normal people, but gamers, they'll probably, lose it
yeah,
if we don't really do a proper
yeah,
job
yeah,
disconnecting the service. So they probably, okay, let's take this out,
yeah,
give them what they want, and do all of that.
yeah.
But yeah.
And then yeah, I also had when you get the controller, like there's a certain package like that it comes in the Google Chromecast. So that
Mm,
mean
mm,
Chromecast you can continue to use whatever way you want anyway. So it's
yeah.
okay. Yeah. Not connected to this topic. I'm recently watching an animated series. Have you heard about Pantheon? Pantheon, like the series? No.
Sounds familiar. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Maybe I have
it's
heard of.
on I think it's on Amazon
Okay.
on
Okay.
Amazon, and then the show is about uploaded intelligence. If you heard about it, no. So I'm not gonna spoil the
Okay.
show to you. So it's
Okay.
basically about
I'll search
kind
that
of
now.
being able to upload the human intelligence to the cloud
Is it
as
a
a
bit like what was that show that we watched? I always forget its name, but I remember the main character's name, uh, which I can't remember right now.
Can you explain the show to me? Like I can
It's about, you have this disc thing on the back of your neck, and what's it called?
carbon altered carbon.
Altered carbon, yeah, altered carbon. It's
Yeah,
sort of I mean, they do upload your consciousness to the cloud in
yeah,
that as well, right?
yeah. It's kind of like that, but it's a bit more different. I mean, in Altered Carbon, like they are already in that stage of having that as a common thing. But this
Right, right.
story is about
It's more
that.
initial.
Yeah, yeah. And this is about kind of how society reacts. And then yeah, but it's a very nice story. It has its second season released pretty recently,
Okay,
and I'm
okay.
actually watching it right now.
Are you watching it
Uh,
on Amazon?
yeah, let's say I'm watching it on Amazon. Yeah,
Okay, we'll
yeah,
chat about that later.
yeah. And yeah, so it's a pretty good show. It talks about like let's just disconnect ourselves from the show for the moment. But like, what do you think about the idea of being able to upload the human intelligence as an entity to, let's say it's an AI, like not AI. AI is artificially made.
Uh-huh.
It's an entity. Let's say it's something that can actually learn and develop itself,
So you can
but
think for itself.
similarly, yeah, I think yeah, exactly. And then a human intelligence upload, it's that, but more complex with more ability to learn, and then also has the ability to, let's say, identify emotions as in a digital space.
Hmm. I mean, it's interesting.
Yeah,
It's just
I
that
guess.
I'm not because okay, I'm good. I'm trying. This might be a weird way to think of it though.
Yeah.
Uh, human. Let's say you can quantify it, right? Intelligence,
Mm.
whatever it is, you can just take it out, right? But it'll still be used to working in a sensory environment where it's you see vision and see all of that.
Mm.
You hear, you touch, you feel all of that, right? Um, how would it? I mean, I just trying to. This probably doesn't make
Yeah.
sense, but
Yeah.
how would it sort of uh, perceive its world when you're inside of a computer, right? You still would need those
Yeah.
things,
So
right?
in this story, these like this intelligence, they like it's called uploaded intelligence. So this UI is what they call them. It's a
Mm-hmm.
UI. These UIs are able to build like they are of course in a server, like or in like
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
a space, the electronic space, and they actually build that surroundings around them. They can build a space like a VR space as they
Okay.
want.
Okay.
So they can
It's
build a
like
physical
imagining
world.
things.
Exactly. They
Mm-hmm.
can build a physical world with the same look and feel, the same food, the same clothes, and they can actually define their appearance any way they want as well. So they can have them appear that as they died, or they can actually age themselves, or can like change their whatever they want. But usually in this story, they appear as themselves, although they can probably change their appearance if they want to.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah,
Interesting.
it's
So,
and
but
yeah.
can they interface with someone outside of the VR world or the world that they
Yeah.
live in?
So the others outside, they have to put on like VR glasses to interact with them.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if the people outside have to communicate,
Yeah,
they have to put on
exactly.
like a
That's the
VR.
thing. Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it'll have to be in an environment where uh, you're used to,
Mm,
right?
mm,
It has to
mm.
be projected, right?
Yeah.
The story doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm just talking because I don't want to spoil you with the details. I'm just talking
Yeah,
like
I'm gonna watch it.
general,
I'm gonna watch it then.
yeah,
I was actually
general
looking for a TV
concept.
show to watch.
Yeah,
I need to watch
it's
this
pretty
one.
good. Like the animations are also very good. Like generally, like it's on par with like sort of like Marvel comics like that they
Mm,
do. So it's on the same level.
mm.
But that's good. And then there's a similar show connect like that as well. I think it's called Upload, where there's a digital afterlife, kind of.
Eh,
Yeah, I mean it's the same kind of concept. When people die, they sign up to live in a
Oh, wait, I've seen this one.
yeah.
I think I've seen this one.
Or
Yes.
they don't have to technically die, but you can like
You can
upload
upload
yourself.
yourself into that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I think it's also coming its third season pretty soon, probably. Yeah, but it's a similar concept, but it's more drama, more fun, more it
Mm,
doesn't
mm,
dive that deep into the technicalities, but it's also
mm.
quite interesting. Yeah. Um. mm, uh, Talking about more animated shows. I mean, I don't know. We are diving out of our usual topic, but I felt like
It's
it's
fine.
interesting to discuss. Yeah.
Yeah,
Have
absolutely.
you watched Castlevania? Castlevania.
No, I haven't watched it.
Oh,
I know what it is, but I haven't watched it.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
no.
I mean, I mean, just from an animation and story point of view, it's crazy good. Yeah, you should, yeah, watch it as well. And it's on Netflix, so yeah,
Oh, is it? Oh, right. It's on Netflix. I'm gonna watch it then.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. They had like a new series come out recently as well. Like the original Castlevania show has 4 seasons, and then
Mhm.
there's a new kind of variation of it that released recently. One more season. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I will watch the original one.
Yeah.
Let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. We went on a
Okay.
bit of a a bit of a
Yeah.
tangent there
Yeah.
about
Yeah. I
anime.
mean, it's
It
fun
came
to
from
it's
like
fun.
reality to all of that stuff, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Uploads and then yeah.
Uploads and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting.
Mm, maybe we can talk about like uh I mean, I think we touched upon this as well, like some time ago, about the electronic cars and then the kind of transition to that. But we saw news recently from Volkswagen that they are planning to end their sales of combustion engines in Norway,
Mm.
and this year, and then they're only going to sell electric cars from next year.
Nice.
Uh, I'm not sure like how this will spread out, but it's probably going to be common case in most European countries, I would feel.
So let's see, because I wanted to add something to that, right?
Mm,
Um, uh, Now there's a I wouldn't call it a threat per se, but yeah, the Europeans consider it a threat.
mm,
There's a wave of Chinese manufacturers that are
mm.
establishing themselves in Europe,
Mm.
mainly in the Nordics. So they're starting off in the Nordics because they know
That's the
Nordics as
market.
a market for EVs, right?
Yeah.
Because like more the probably across all the Nordic countries, mainly EVs that are mainly being sold, right?
Mm.
Um, and the Germans don't really have an answer to that, right?
Yeah.
Not just the Germans, I mean the
I
British
see
are like
that. What do you mean by
pretty
answer?
much.
It's like they don't have a
So
product to compete. Is it?
they don't have a exactly right. So they don't really have a product to come. They have like half-assed attempts
Mm.
at EVs at best. So I mean, okay, just to put add some facts there, right? So Mercedes has been in this EQ series, right? That's been going
Mm.
on. They have like a nice SUV, a nice EQE, I think there's an E class that's
Mm,
EQ. But those are really expensive, right? Those are not really attainable for the
mm,
normal people, general people who really want a car. That's more
yeah.
of a luxury thing, I would say. Like even the
Mm,
Porsche
mm,
Taycan is like a luxury car.
yeah.
Uh, I mean, they have good cars. I'm not saying that they don't have good cars, but they don't really
Mm,
have anything accessible for everyone, right? And the Chinese, I think it's the Xpeng. I can't remember the other model is
mm,
GR7, something like that. That is the size of about a Model S for the
mm,
price of a Model 3, right?
mm,
And that's being released. And it was, I mean, it's not been released just right now, right? It's been there in the market for a
mm,
bit now. And those cars look nice, right? They're not like the
um,
shoddy Chinese cars that we're used to.
yeah. But what about I'm not sure whether they are, but like Polestar is
Yeah, Polestar
also.
still Polestar, the cheaper ones, they don't have a lot
Mm,
of range, right?
okay.
So there's always something. So when you make it cheaper, you will lose something, right? So the Chinese are coming out with
Mm,
cars that are cheap, that have good range, that are
yeah.
luxurious, and that are spacious, right? And
Yeah.
when that's in the market, unless like you're a nationalist person, you're like, okay, I'm only buying Swedish cars,
Yeah.
you would buy. But generally, the majority of people are not gonna be like that,
Yeah.
unless like they're like there's like safety issues and things like that, which I doubt they'll
Mm,
have because Chinese have been building some of these cars anyway, and they have experience with
mm,
it, so you
yeah.
know
Yeah.
they know how to put things together. And yeah, that's and what's been missing was the design part, which was
Mm,
like shitty design earlier, but now that they've got that sorted out,
yeah.
might as well. So I can see a lot of parallels to this
Mm,
what happened back in the US in the 70s, 60s, late
mm,
60s, early 70s, when at that time the US car makers were putting out these massive, huge, like big ass cars with like 6.4 liter engines and
mm,
getting only like 120 horsepower out of it. And it
mm,
was
mm,
just messed up, right? They were
yeah.
just gas guzzlers, right?
Mm,
Then what the Japanese did was they came out with like smaller, lightweight,
mm,
reliable,
mm,
efficient cars,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
the automakers in the US has lost it, right? I mean, they
Yeah.
have not been able to recover. Even if you check today, uh, except for the okay, the highest selling vehicle is a truck. That's a different story. But everything else is like a Toyota, Honda,
Mm, mm,
Honda Accord, Toyota. I think is the Corolla, and
mm,
all of
mm,
that, right? So all Japanese
yeah.
brands are still number one in that
In
segment,
the
right?
mass market, like in
In the
like
mass
general
market,
public.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's it's weird, like so no cars are there from any other local manufacturer like Ford or GM or
Yeah.
anyone. Um, but yeah, it's weird, right? So that might end up happening in Europe as well
Mm,
because
yeah.
US people are still not. I mean, there's Tesla is there, of course, but um I feel
Mm,
like there's a bit of a longer way to go for people to adopt
yeah.
electric cars
Mm.
because um,
It's a
the
big
US
country
is a
as well.
car-centric country, right? It's a
Mm,
car-centric country, and people, when you're car-centric and the car is your only option, you'd like to have that backup of the, just pump fuel and just go, right?
mm,
That psychology is still there, right? Although there's
yeah.
longer ranges and better
Yeah.
charging infrastructure, that psychology is still there. But that's probably less in Europe because Europeans are more, they are not really car centric. All of their cities are more, public transport oriented, walking
Yeah.
centric, cycling, and a car
Mm,
for them is something that they, use on and off, I would say.
mm,
Not
yeah. Yeah.
not on a daily basis for majority of the
Yeah.
Europeans, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they do use it if you have like kids and all that. That's a different story. But
Mm,
generally, it's
yeah.
much less than in the US, I would say.
Yeah, and
Uh,
US is also generally very much anti-China, so it's less chance that they would let
a
Chinese
lot of
companies
people
control.
anti-China, I think.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of people are. I
Yeah,
mean, like we started this topic with the same kind of point that the companies are afraid like of Chinese companies coming in like and getting the
yeah,
market. So it's
yeah,
the same perception, but like. Even in US, like you talked about Tesla, Tesla is also quite controversial. They
Mm,
bring products, they sometimes they don't perform as well as they
mm,
expected to.
mm.
There are problems coming up. So yeah, until
Yes.
Elon Musk solves his and the company problems, it's gonna be a bit messy. But yeah, uh, if we what you mentioned about how what happened in US happens in in Europe, I think it's quite possible. It's just
Yeah.
because the people drive the market. Like if you put,
Yeah.
unless you put affordable good electric products out, it's gonna
Yeah,
move that
exactly.
way
You need
very.
to it needs to have all those factors, right? I mean, there are affordable cars, right? Even right
Yeah,
now, but
yeah,
the range in that is not that good, right?
yeah.
So, I mean, so the argument is like you can buy that car to just do the city running, right? And
Mm,
that's generally the case. So, cars like the Renault Zoe and things like that, they're relatively small, but I mean, they don't have a lot of range, but that's a
mm,
perfect city car, right? A perfect city car, I would say.
yeah.
Something like a Nissan Leaf as well, but it's not that it's Japanese. But um, I mean that's there as well. But when you come up with a car that's cheap, has a good range,
Mm.
looks nice, why wouldn't you buy it when you're buying a new car, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like to be honest, like for myself, I've always wanted to have an electric car, like when I can. But it's just that the track record of electric cars have been a bit unpredictable over the last years.
Mm-hmm.
Like when it comes to range, and then
Mm-hmm.
also there's like you said, there's also this kind of push of mindset to have at least maybe a hybrid car, so that if you're stuck with some place without
Mm,
fuel, you like without electricity, it's you can manage, get some fuel and you can manage to get
exactly.
out of there. So it's the kind of safety. And I don't know like when that will completely go out, in terms of being very,
Very
unless you need to have roadways which can charge your car while you're traveling, that's when it will be safe enough.
that's probably very little change, but yeah, that's probably
Yeah,
like about 10 or 15 years away,
yeah, even more maybe, yeah.
at least. Yeah.
But it is probable, like possible to do, like it's just the matter of, I don't know, induction, like it's like you have like wireless electric charging technologies right now. It's a matter of just laying it under and putting uh, a cover over the
Standards, man,
roads.
standards. What's the standard going to be,
Yeah,
and who's
yeah,
there, all of that, right? So
yeah.
it's. I mean, it's not the technology. It's just that you need
Mm.
the uh, someone
Yeah,
to
yeah,
just roll it out
yeah,
properly
yeah, yeah.
nowadays. That's the issue, I think.
Yeah, but I'm hoping for this. Hopefully,
Fingers
that
crossed.
I'll
Fingers
yeah that
crossed.
I'll be able to, yeah. But then also like they need to kind of figure out how to do the repairs and stuff like as well,
Yeah.
in a not so closed box way. The electric cars are still very much, it's a software product, and then you have to return
Mm,
it to your producer, like manufacturer, to get it done. Yeah.
yeah.
But that's the time that we have for today to
Yeah.
talk about things. So
Totally random topics today.
yeah, it's good to have like this. We have some topics that we usually talk about, and then some random ones. But thank you very much for listening to us. And then if you have any inputs, put them on the comments, and then we'll come back to you. And we'll catch you up next week.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day and a
Yeah,
good
have a
week
good day
ahead.
and a good week ahead. Yeah, take care.